I want to talk about postmodernism a little bit with you guys. I am going to suggest to you today that the often misunderstood postmodernism that the right assigns to the American left is actually something that we can correctly ascribe to the right. And I'm going to give you some examples here. Now, let's back up a little bit. One of the criticisms that the right loves to make about the left is the left's woke postmodernism means anything goes, everybody's opinions are equally valid, everybody deserves an equal seat at any table. We must listen. They say, the left says, we must listen to any harebrained, crazy idea, no matter how unsubstantiated or unbacked up, not backed up it is by empiricism and data or whatever. And that's how the left gets into these crazy things that they end up getting into, like, all the different things they talk about and some of the things we've talked about, right? Like Jewish women aren't intersectional enough to lead the Women's March or whatever the case may be. Now, does that exist on the left to some degree? Well, yeah, it's a very, very small thing on the left. But I would argue that this is a much bigger deal on the right, where when the right says you really can't trust the media, and some guy with a mic on Real America's Voice is at least potentially just as trustworthy as actual investigative journalism that is doing real investigative journalism. Or, for example, scientists, specialists, public health experts, they don't necessarily know what's going on. Some preacher offering you drinkable silver, or some dude on the internet who's vaporizing hydrogen peroxide. All of these things are equally likely to be the proper way to deal with COVID. Or my sister's stepmom's brother's aunt's adopted babysitter is just as good of a resource on vaccines as a doctor. That is actually the place where you see this anything goes as long as it's convenient type of stuff. And look at this example. Here is, now you might have been unaware that the trucker convoy is kind of like still, I guess, going on. And some Republicans have invited the truckers to meet with them. And here is video of a trucker convoy leader saying to Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, listen, the truckers know what's going on with COVID. COVID is over, and truckers are the new scientist, and Jim Jordan loves it. This is the very caricature of anything goes postmodernism that they ascribe to the left. Look at this.
The country's figured it all out, and I think they appreciate the fact that you're standing up and saying the First Amendment matters.
I mean, the trucker has become the scientist for America now in the world, and there's no science across the world, and these ladies can attest it, that supports any of the mandates or the underlying emergency declarations. There is no data or science. COVID is done, and the American people understand this. Omicron was our off-ramp. Governments need to be bold and grab Omicron and take this exit strategy. Yeah. Sadly enough, it takes the trucker to now stand up as a scientist for the...
Right. The truckers, this country is going down the tubes, but truckers doing the work of scientists are what is going to save us. This is it's a caricature of the very postmodernism that they claim to oppose. There's other examples of this. Bryce Mitchell, the UFC fighter. Last week, I played a clip of Bryce Mitchell saying, I don't know what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, and then giving 10 unsubstantiated opinions and conspiracy theories. And Tucker Carlson brings him on as someone to be listened to. Remember this? This is the same thing, guys. Everybody gets an equal seat at the table. UFC fighter, trucker on matters of geopolitics and epidemiology. Why the hell not?
Honored to have Bryce Mitchell join us tonight. Bryce, thanks so much for coming on and for what you said. I haven't seen anybody express it better than you did. Why did you say that?
Well, thank you so much for having me, brother. And I said that because that's the first thing that I thought when he asked me, and I was trying to give him the best answer that I could, and that's just my genuine thoughts on the subject.
How do you get to be so honest when everyone else is afraid to say what they think, and you just kind of say it?
Well, I don't have to be worried about being fired from my job for saying what I want to say. There's a lot of people out there that do agree with me, but they can't say things that I get to say, even though they think them.
Okay,
They'll get fired
anyway,
from
his explanation for how he's coming up with all this stuff doesn't really matter. But again, they say the left has this anything goes sort of idea, but it is they who are actually doing exactly that. And then lastly, Madison Cawthorn. And again, guy knows absolutely nothing about foreign policy or anything. And it has worked on the right. Here is a guy at one of his town halls actually saying, can you explain Russia and Ukraine to me?
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, Congressman.
Yes, sir.
We got this mess in the Eastern Europe there with Ukraine and all that. And I know you'd made some reference to President Zelensky being a thug or being, and the government being corrupt. I think we're all trying to figure this thing out. I mean, it seems like we're on the precipice of could be a possible major disaster. Can you clarify some of that for us so we know where we stand with all of that?
I will. So,
and again, we already looked at Madison Cawthorn's answer. It's whacked. It's outrageously critical of Zelensky. It attacks Ukraine and does all these different things. Doesn't matter. The specifics don't matter. But the point is, the right loves to ascribe this exact type of, listen, this person's an expert or whatever. Maybe why is a blue-haired feminist explaining gender when that's not really, you need a doctor, I guess, to explain sex and gender or whatever. But then they've got Madison Cawthorn explaining geopolitics. They've got Bryce Mitchell, UFC fighter, explaining foreign relations. And they've got the truckers acting as scientists. It's absurd. And we can't allow them to get away with accusing the left of doing exactly what it is that they do every single day. One of our sponsors is Athletic Greens, which makes comprehensive daily nutrition really simple. People are busy. We're not always getting effective, balanced nutrition from the food we eat. We sometimes are combining all sorts of different vitamins, supplements, different things that may be relevant to us. AG1 by Athletic Greens is a delicious drink that just simplifies the entire thing. It's one product. You get all of the things you need, 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. It's a multivitamin, it's a multi-mineral, it's a probiotic, green food blend in one daily serving. Really easy, high quality, bioavailable ingredients can fill those nutritional gaps in your diet, and they can help with gut health and digestion and support you in other ways. And they can replace multiple products and pills that you might be taking. It's just one drink, really simple. I've been enjoying the AG1 drink by Athletic Greens. Tastes good, helps me get everything I'm trying to get. Athletic Greens is giving my audience a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase when you go to athleticgreens.com/Pacman. The link is in the podcast notes.